Then the blood supply to the spinal cord. So the blood supply to the vertebral canal, it's critical, especially from the context of surgical and clinical considerations. So the spinal cord, no, which is located within the vertebral canal, allows for a neuronal connection between the brain and the rest of the body, and thus the blood supply to this structure is of vital importance. So spinal cord is located within the vertebral canal, so it will allow for a neuronal connection between the brain and rest of body. So we in this review we go over the blood supply and additional information. So general structure. So spinal cord no initiates. So where does the spinal cord start? At the base of the foramen magnum and extends to conus medullaris. So which on average ends between spinal vertebra L1 and L2, but can end as early as T12 or as far as down as between L2 and L3. So if we take the spinal cord, no, so this spinal cord initiates at the base of the foramen magnum and it will extend down to conus medullaris. So which ends on average, so where does this conus medullaris end? Between the spinal vertebra L1 to L2. So between spinal vertebra L1 to L2, so this this conus medullaris will end. So but it can end as early as T12 spinal cord or as far down between L2 and L3. The spinal cord, no, it is also surrounded by meninges. So it consists of dura mater, arachnoid mater and pia mater. So the end of the subarachnoid space, no, terminates around the S2 vertebra. Okay, the end of the subarachnoid space. So where does the end of the subarachnoid space terminate? Around the S2 vertebra. So spinal cord is also surrounded by dura mater, arachnoid matter and pia mater. End of the subarachnoid space terminates around the S2 vertebra. So the vertebral canal, no, it is 33 vertebra. So how many vertebra are there? 33 vertebra. So 7 are cervical vertebra, 12 are thoracic, 7 are cervical vertebra, 12 are thoracic vertebra, 5 are lumbar vertebra and 5 are sacral along with 4 coccygeal vertebra. So totally 12, 7, 19, 19 plus 10, 29 plus 4, so it becomes 33. So vertebral canal 33 vertebra. So 7 are cervical, 12 are thoracic, 5 are lumbar, 5 are sacral along with 4 coccygeal. So the arachnoid matter surrounds at S2 vertebra. So vertebral body means vertebral body is the main weight bearing aspect of the vertebral column. So the vertebral column main weight bearing aspect is vertebral body. So they are separated by the intervertebral disc. So this intervertebral disc, no, they allow for cushioning. So the size increases as the vertebra moves caudally. So as the vertebra moves caudally, no, the size of the vertebral body increases. So the lumbar bodies are the largest one, which also bear the most weight. So the most weight is by lumbar bodies. So these are the largest vertebra. And vertebral arch means posterior and lateral aspects of the vertebra with a central lumen in the middle. So vertebral arch, no, posterior and lateral aspects of the vertebra, they have a central lumen in the middle which forms a vertebral canal, so where the spinal cord will exist. So this arch, no, it is made up of pedicles which attach the arch to the body and lamina which extend from each pedicle to meet at the midline and close of the arch, and from this there will be a spinous process. And then we also have the superior articular process and inferior articular process. So these superior and inferior articular process, so this is present on each side of the pedicle. So this will connect with inferior and superior articular process of the adjacent vertebra to form the intervertebral phenomenon through which blood vessels and nerves can exit and enter the spinal cord. And transverse process are also present on each vertebra. They differ between the cervical, thoracic and lumbar. So they form at the junction between the pedicle and lamina, and these transverse process they face posteriorly and laterally. In the cervical vertebra, the transverse process contain a luminal space called. So in the cervical vertebra, what will happen? These transverse process, they contain a luminal space. So this is called the transverse foramina, through which the vertebral arteries course through on both sides. So this is just the structure of vertebra. Okay, vertebral body, intervertebral disc, vertebral arch, pedicles, lamina, spinous process, superior and inferior articular process, transverse process, and we also have a luminal space in the transverse process in the cervical vertebra. So this is called as transverse foramina, through which the vertebral arteries course through on both sides. So the function of the spinal canal and vertebral column is to protect the spinal cord and provide support to the body. And it includes foramina such that blood supply and nerves to and from the spinal cord can occur at every level. So this because this spinal canal and vertebral column, no, they'll have the foramina. So because of this foramina, the blood supply and nerves to and from the spinal cord can occur at every level. And blood vessels, so then coming to the blood vessels, okay. So the blood vessels, no, they form from the mesoderm. Blood vessels form from the mesoderm. So during development, as the nerve roots that will connect into the spinal cord start to form. So from spinal cords, nerve root will be forming, no, during embryology. So they will carry a radicular artery along their route to the spinal cord. So however, from this point, some of these arteries will grow larger to supply more than just their spinal cord, while other arteries will spontaneously regress, and that's why we do not have 31 theoretical radicular arteries. So few arteries, they grow along with the spinal cord level, but few arteries, no, they don't grow. Okay, so the vertebral arteries initially start as 7 longitudinally connected intersegmental cervical arteries. Vertebral arteries are there, so they start as 7 longitudinally connected intersegmental cervical arteries. So the first 6 of these arteries eventually resolve, leaving a single long anterior spinal artery which connects to the 7 intersegmental cervical arteries that will ultimately become the subclavian artery, producing the normal anatomical structure of the vertebral arteries. Vertebral arteries, they start as 7 longitudinally connected intersegmental cervical arteries. First 6 arteries, they resolve, so they will leave only a single long anterior spinal artery. So this single long anterior spinal artery, so this connects to the 7 intersegmental cervical arteries that will ultimately, so this will become the subclavian artery, so producing the normal anatomical structure of the vertebral artery. And the main vertebral blood supply for the spinal cord comes from different sources in the body, so depending on the region. So the main blood supply to the spinal cord, what is the main blood supply? It is through the single anterior spinal artery and the two posterior spinal arteries. How many arteries are there? Single anterior spinal artery, two posterior spinal arteries. So it is the anterior spinal artery, single anterior spinal artery, and then we have the two posterior spinal arteries. This is for the blood supply of the spinal cord. For anterior part of the spinal cord, single anterior spinal artery. Posterior part of the spinal cord, two posterior spinal artery. So the anterior spinal artery, it is formed by the vertebral arteries which originate from the first part of the subclavian artery. How is the anterior spinal artery formed? By the vertebral arteries. So where is the vertebral artery originating? From the first part of the subclavian artery. So these vertebral arteries, they pass through the transverse foramen of C1 through C6 and through the foramen magnum to become the basilar artery. However, before joining together to become the basilar artery, see, from this two vertebral arteries it will become the basilar artery. So before becoming the basilar artery, what will this vertebral artery do? So before joining together to become the basilar artery, the vertebral arteries each give off a branch, so which becomes the anterior spinal artery. So this anterior spinal artery, so this anterior spinal artery, it travels caudally down the spinal cord through the anterior sulcus. The posterior arteries can branch off the posterior spinal arteries. They can branch off the posterior inferior cerebellar artery or branches from the pre-atlantal vertebral arteries, so which also travel caudally down to the spinal cord, but through the two posterior sulci. Anteriorly, anterior sulcus is there. Posteriorly, posterior sulci. So the posterior spinal arteries are branching off from which artery? Posterior inferior cerebellar artery. Okay. Anterior spinal arteries from the vertebral artery. Posterior spinal arteries are branching off from the posterior inferior cerebellar artery or branches from the pre-atlantal vertebral artery. So this also travel caudally down the spinal cord. So the anterior spinal artery, it provides blood to the anterior 2/3 of the spinal cord. Posterior spinal artery, so this will supply blood to the posterior 1/3 of the spinal cord. Anterior spinal artery, anterior 2/3. Posterior spinal artery, posterior 1/3 of the spinal cord. So if we go to the Google and we search the network. So we have the anterior spinal artery and posterior spinal artery. Okay, so anterior spinal artery, it is coming from vertebral artery before it becomes a basilar artery, and posterior spinal arteries are coming off from the posterior inferior cerebellar artery, or this could also be branches from the pre-atlantal vertebral arteries. So these are fed additional arteries throughout their course down the spinal cord at each spinal level through the intervertebral foramen. So again these arteries, they are fed additional arteries throughout their course down the spinal cord. So these additional arteries are called as segmental spinal arteries. So what are these arteries? Segmental spinal arteries. So the segmental arteries then bifurcate into anterior, and they are fed by additional arteries. So what are the additional arteries which are feeding them? So these are segmental spinal arteries. The segmental spinal arteries, they bifurcate into anterior and posterior radicular arteries. However, they fed by the additional arteries are called as segmental spinal arteries. So these segmental spinal arteries then bifurcate into anterior and posterior radicular artery, which feed into both anterior and posterior spinal arteries respectively. So not only they can supply the anterior spinal artery or posterior spinal artery, but they also provide blood supply to the nerve roots along which they track. So we have additional arteries. So what are the additional arteries? Segmental spinal arteries. How does they bifurcate? Anterior and posterior radicular arteries. So because of this, they feed both the posterior and anterior spinal arteries. So they not only supply the anterior and posterior spinal arteries, but also provide blood supply to the nerve roots. So theoretically there should be 31 radicular arteries for each foramen that receives an artery, but in reality there is always less. Okay, there should be 31 radicular arteries, but they are less. Sometimes, however, the spinal segmental arteries, no, they also give off segmental medullary arteries. Spinal segmental arteries are there. So from spinal segmental artery, they are bifurcating into radicular artery. So these spinal segmental arteries also give off segmental medullary arteries. So this also directly feed into the anterior spinal artery and posterior spinal artery. However, the numbers differ between person to person. So they are thought to be anywhere from 8 to 10 in every person. So two anterior spinal arteries will be there. No, they supply the upper cervical spinal cord as a cum of the vertebral arteries before the anastomose together into the single anterior spinal artery. Mid cervical spinal cord receives vascular supply by segmental medullary arteries coming directly off the vertebral artery. Lower cervical to upper thoracic spinal cord is supplied by radiculomedullary arteries from the cervicothoracic trunk C7 to T1. And segmental spinal arteries supply the mid-thoracic region as a cum of usually the posterior intercostal artery. The largest segmental medullary artery is the artery of Adam-Kevich, also known as the greater anterior radiculomedullary artery. So which is the largest segmental medullary artery? Largest segmental medullary artery. This is a medullary artery, okay? So this medullary artery is the artery of Adam-Kevich. So this is also known as the greater anterior radiculomedullary artery. So the artery of Adam-Kevich, it branches off the left side of the descending aorta around T8 to L2. So artery of the Adam-Kevich, no, from where does it branch off? It branches off from the left side of the descending aorta around which thoracic vertebra T8 to L2 via lumbar or intercostal arteries, and connects on the ventral side of the spinal cord to supply the anterior spinal artery. So the artery of Adam-Kevich, no, so it delivers vascular supply to a large area of the thoracolumbar region, and thus it is considered a watershed area. So branches from the internal iliac arteries, no, they supply the lumbosacral spinal cord. So lumbosacral spinal cord is supplied by the internal iliac arteries. So which artery supply the lumbosacral spinal cord? Internal iliac artery. Artery of Adam-Kevich, it is the largest segmental medullary artery. So this is also known as the greatest anterior, it's anterior radiculomedullary artery. So from where does it branch off? Left side of the descending aorta around T8 to L2 via lumbar or intercostal arteries and connects on the ventral side of the spinal cord. So see, first we have the, see here we have the anterior spinal artery, posterior spinal artery, okay. So they are fed additional arteries, okay. So these additional arteries, so what are these additional arteries called? Segmental spinal arteries, okay. They bifurcate into, segmental arteries bifurcate into anterior and posterior radicular arteries, okay. So because of this bifurcation, they feed the anterior and posterior spinal arteries. So apart from this spinal segmental arteries, they also give off the segmental medullary arteries. So they directly feed into the anterior spinal and posterior spinal arteries. And radiculomedullary artery. So what is that radiculomedullary artery? It is the artery of Adam-Kevich. So which region it supplies? T8 to L2. So mid cervical spinal cord, no. So from where does it receive vascular supply? By segmental medullary arteries. So where are the segmental medullary arteries? They are coming directly off the vertebral artery. So from vertebral artery they are coming directly, okay. And the lower cervical to upper thoracic spinal cord, no. So this is supplied by radiculomedullary arteries. So here also radiculomedullary arteries arising from the cervicothoracic trunk from C7 to T1. So mid thoracic region, segmental spinal arteries of the mid thoracic region, no. So they come from the posterior intercostal arteries. They come from the posterior intercostal arteries. So then coming to the blood supply of the spinal cord. Okay, so in blood supply of the spinal cord, so here we have the, okay, here we can see the anterior spinal artery, okay, and we can see the two posterior spinal arteries, and additional feeding also will be there, okay. So see here, okay, so here we can see the see here you can see the, so okay, segmental spinal artery is there, okay. You see the segmental spinal artery here, okay. So this is the segmental spinal artery. So this segmental spinal artery, no, it is dividing into posterior radicular artery, and then it is dividing into anterior radicular artery, and from segmental spinal artery, no, so this is also giving rise to segmental medullary artery, right. So anterior spinal artery is there, posterior spinal artery is there, okay. So two posterior spinal arteries we have, one anterior spinal artery we have. Then we have the segmental spinal artery. So this segmental spinal artery, no, it will give rise to anterior radicular artery and posterior radicular artery, and we also have the segmental medullary artery, and then we have the from the segmental spinal artery we also have the left posterior intercostal artery. So from segmental spinal artery, which what are we having? Left posterior intercostal artery. And so that is the diagram. See again in this figure, anterior spinal artery, then segmental artery, posterior radicular artery, posterior spinal artery, and anterior radicular artery. So the two anterior spinal arteries primarily supply the upper spinal cord as they come from the vertebral arteries. So before the anastomose together into single anterior spinal artery, mid cervical canal by segmental medullary arteries. So these segmental medullary arteries, they are coming directly from the vertebral artery, and lower cervical to upper thoracic spinal cord by radiculomedullary arteries. So both radical as well as medullary arteries arising from the cervicothoracic trunk, from the cervicothoracic trunk C7 to T1, and segmental spinal arteries in the mid thoracic region as they come off usually the posterior intercostal artery, and largest segmental medullary artery is the artery of Adam Kewis.